Yo, did you know that Trump could be half alien?
Wow, really?
Josh! There's fake news zombies outside the door. What do we do?
My God.
Josh, are you ready?
I was born.
Good evening, Mavericks, and welcome to CSI Today.
I'm your first anchor, Joshua Charlie, and this here is my second anchor.
Excuse me?
Ken Bob.
I am the first anchor. Correction, you are the second anchor.
They don't know that.
Know your place. On January 20th, the presidential inauguration took place, and Donald J. Trump was sworn in as the 45th President of the United States.
This peaceful transfer of power occurred at the Capitol building in Washington, D.C., in front of what many members of the press consider to be a modest-sized crowd.
At the conclusion of the ceremony, many people noted the difference in attendance size between Obama's and Trump's inaugurations.
A day later, the White House press secretary, Sean Spicer, held a press conference in which he made many questionable statements in response to the media's criticism of Trump's crowd size.
Know that 420,000 people used the D.C. Metro public transit yesterday, which actually compares to 317,000 that used it for President Obama's last inaugural.
After his statements, members of the press proved many of these claims to be false.
The question now becomes, why is any of this significant? It's just a bunch of random people at some event, right?
Well, not exactly. The cause for concern here is that the American people and many countries around the world rely on the information that comes from the White House. When Sean Spicer states various falsehoods simply over attendance size, what happens when the falsehoods relate to something far more important?
If a simple lie from the White House administration is allowed to pass by unchecked, there is no capacity to the number they could generate from there.
The media plays an important role in our democracy in that they have the ability to verify information that our government passes along to us.
And we as American citizens have an important responsibility in that we hold the media accountable for ethical journalism by subscribing to newspapers and watching news outlets that uphold these ethical standards. After being elected, President Trump did not wait long to begin making huge changes, signing new executive orders that have real consequences for groups such as immigrants, women, and companies that rely on trade.
3 of these significant executive orders include Trump's plans to increase Border Patrol, make abortion illegal, and withdraw from the Trans-Pacific Partnership Deal, also known as the TPP.
Trump, of course, has his own reasonings behind these actions, but many are worried that new executive orders will not only halt progression, socially and economically, but will send us in the wrong direction entirely. A sort of one step forward, 2 steps back effect.
President Trump claims that the construction of the wall and the increase in Border Patrol would allow us to gain control of our borders while also helping the economy in Mexico. Others think that this will only cause a massive shortage of hard-labored jobs, negatively impacting our economy.
Abortion laws are also one of the major social issues being addressed. Trump feels it should be banned because it is morally wrong, and allowing abortion to stay illegal only encourages the practice. Others fear that the ban of abortion will stop funding for Planned Parenthood, which many women rely on for services other than abortions.
Lastly, the TPP trade deal involves countries that add up to over 40% of the world's economy, and if the executive order gets backing from Congress, the United States would be withdrawing from that.
Trump says this is a good idea because this would allow us to raise taxes on products brought in from other countries and would lead to job creations in the US. The downside to this is that prices of consumer goods may rise.
The Million Woman March attracted the attention of political leaders, celebrities, and civilians, making this one of the most talked about and one of the biggest events in the US's history. Celebrities like Katy Perry, Zendaya, Madonna, Miley Cyrus, Beyonce, and Meryl Streep have all publicly supported the Million Woman March, and many of these celebrities led sister marches.
This march was not exclusive to women, although it was being led by women. People from all genders, races, ages, and sexualities came together to show their support for one another.
Mavericks, this is the time for our country to be united. The fight is not over yet, it has just begun. The long-term goal of this historic event is to make our voices heard by sending government authorities letters expressing what can be done to improve human rights.
These times ask for compassion, understanding, and acceptance. We need to accept one another and to stand for one another.
That is all for today, Mavericks. We thank you so much for tuning in and watching me and Kent talk about stuff.
Mainly me. I'm sorry, Josh.
That is all for today, Mavericks. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching me and Kent talk about the news.
Correction, Kent and Josh.
I never even said my name, dude.
Josh, are you ready?
Am I ready? You're going to ask me if I am ready.
Yes.
Hey miss, what are we doing today?
It's on the board! It's right there! On the board!
Miss, you're not you when you're hungry. Here, have a Snickers.
Yeah, I would just go with that then.
Better?
Better.